This is Chopin's Piano Prelude No. 15 in D-flat major, Opus 28, composed in 1838. It is also known as the Raindrop Prelude. Chopin's set work was composed in the 19th century and falls into the age of Romanticism. The Romantic era was between circa 1800 and 1900. Music was influenced by other art forms that dealt with the expression or intense but ordinary human emotions such as love, grief, joy, death, and the beauty to be found in the natural world. Romanticism is an artistic movement in Europe that happened between circa 1800 and 1900, in which the artist was more concerned with feelings and emotions than with that of the form of the piece. Artists such as J.M.W. Turner painted landscapes that depicted both the beauty and the ruggedness of the natural world. Writers such as Byron, Wordsworth compared human emotions and feelings with dramatic scenes from nature in their works, and music followed suit. Romantic composers strove for freedom in order to write expressive music that responded to a wide range of emotions and also to nature. Here are some key features of the Romantic style of music. There's an emphasis on expressing a wider range of feelings and emotions in music. Melody lines become stronger and far more developed. There's more freedom for the composer in the use of form and structure of the music. There's the use of extended chords to create sevenths, ninths and elevenths. The dominant 13th was the epitome of the Romantic chord. Other Romantic chords included the diminished 7th, the augmented 6th chord and the Neapolitan chord. Keywords: structure, ternary form, section A, section B which is longer, section A repeating briefly, and then an 8-bar coda at the end. Tonality: section A, major, D-flat major, section B, minor, C-sharp minor. This is a tonic minor for the B section. A section melody. The raindrop is repeated A-flat quavers, repeats throughout, harmonised in 6, and the ornaments used is a turn. B section melody in crotchets. The melody is in the bass part. Note lengths are augmented. The ornaments become more complex towards the end, with a more chromatic ornament. 10 notes, not 7. The highest notes are on bar 89. Dynamics: sostenuto starts piano, quiet. Sotto voce gradually builds up in the B section to FF, fortissimo, and dies down at the end to PP, very quietly. Tempo: slow held back tempo, and slows down at the end, ritenuto. Instruments: a pedal is used. Texture: B section builds up texture by doubling the raindrop. There's a pedal note in the bass in the A section, and there's an inverted pedal in the B section in the top part. Prelude No. 15 in D-flat major is in ternary form, and it's just 89 bars long in total. Ternary form just means in 3 parts. It has an A section, then a contrasting B section, then a returning A section. And this piece also has a final 4th section, which is called a coda. The first section, the A section, lasts between bars 1 to 27 and is in D-flat major, as the title suggests, whilst B section is in C sharp minor, which goes from bars 28 to 75. A short bit of section A is then repeated in bars 76 to 81 back in D flat major again. C sharp minor is a tonic minor of D flat major, as D flat major is the enharmonic equivalent of C sharp. Chopin explores other keys in both sections, and this is typical of the Romantic music era. The piece finally finishes with a coda between bars 81 and 89. It's called the Raindrop Prelude because of the repeated quaver A-flat in the left-hand part, which changes to a G sharp when the key changes to C sharp minor. This note is repeated throughout the whole of the piece. So, a little more about section A, which introduces the original raindrop. This prelude is marked as sostenuto. It doesn't just mean sustained here, but it should also have a slow, held-back tempo. The pianist has to use the pedal a lot, which also helps to sustain the notes. You can hear the raindrop note in the first bar, and it continues throughout the piece. The first melodic phrase lasts 4 bars and is marked P for piano, meaning quiet. The first 3 notes of the melody are descending, just like raindrops. Descending just means going downwards. In bar 3, the melody is harmonised in 6. These 4 bars are repeated with no changes, except for the last beat of the phrase, which leads into the new phrase. There's an ornament, which you might need to look up, in the 4th bar. This ornament is a turn, which is written out in full, and the turn isn't played in the 8th bar. Another melodic idea starts in the last 2 quavers of bar 8. It's a 4-bar melody, and the key moves towards A-flat minor. It's followed by a variation of the tune. From bars 14 to 20, the raindrop note is played on an F and not an A-flat. The melody goes through B-flat minor, the relative minor of D-flat major, and then back to D-flat major for the last few bars of this section, where you can hear the opening melody again. In this section, the melody is actually played in the bass part, the left hand, in crotchets. The melody is played underneath the raindrop notes in this section, which are G sharps. It's marked sotto voce, which means in an undertone, and it should be played soft and quietly. In bar 35, Chopin starts to build up the texture by doubling the raindrop in octaves, and it feels powerful. The dynamics start to build up gradually until bar 43, where the music drops back down to P for piano. It then gets louder again, building up to FF fortissimo in bar 56. There are lots of accents in section B. See bars 40 to 43 or 56 to 59, for example. This is quite a contrast to section A, which was P, piano, all the way through with no accents. In bars 60 to 63, the melody is quite similar to the start of section B, but some of the note lengths have been augmented, made longer. This makes it feel slow and heavy. In bars 64 to 67, the repeated G sharps in the top line form an inverted pedal. A pedal point is one that is held on or repeated, but usually in the bass part. An inverted pedal is a held note in the top part. Although this B section is in C sharp minor, Chopin explores other keys. The harmonies pass through G sharp minor and F sharp minor. Bar 75, the last bar of section B, is a transition bar between section B and the repeat of section A. The last 4 quavers of bar 75 prepare for the key change in the next bar. To return now back to section A, which is repeated, in bar 76 the piece returns to the key of D flat major and repeats to section A. The opening phrase is played again, just with a slightly different ornament. It's more chromatic this time and has 10 notes instead of 7. Chopin suggests that the piece is coming to an end by using the term smorzando, which means dying away, in bar 79. In bar 81, the melody is cut short to make way for the coda. And now we're on to the coda, which finishes the piece. The coda starts on the last beat of bar 81 and lasts until bar 89, which is at the end of the piece. The melodic line in bars 81 to 83 has the highest notes of the whole prelude. These are also the only bars that are not accompanied by the raindrop quavers. In bar 84, the raindrops come back on the dominant note, A flat, until the final tonic, D flat chord. The coda starts off F, meaning loud, forte, then drops down to P, meaning quiet, for piano. The final two bars are PP, pianissimo, meaning very quiet, which is the quietest part of the whole piece. The piece slows down towards the end with a gentle ritenuto. The harmony is often chromatic and discordant to portray strong emotions such as grief and anguish. There's the inclusion of strong and varied dynamic contrasts, PPPP, perhaps to FFFFF. There are links to other art forms, art and literature through the medium of program music. Program music is music that tells a story. An increased level of technical demand in the music and the related rise of the virtuoso performer. There was a rise of nationalism, for example, Chopin's use of Polish folk melodies and dance rhythms in his piano music. There was a significant expansion of the orchestra with enlarged sections and new instruments, and the development of the piano. Virtuoso performer is a person in music or the arts in general who has mastered the skills and techniques of their art form. A soft pedal is a pedal on a piano that, when pressed, softens the tone of the music. A sustaining pedal is a pedal that, when pressed, sustains all of the strings on the piano by removing the dampers from all strings and allowing them to vibrate freely. Tempo rubato, or rubato, literally just means robbed time. This is a technique where the player can pull back or speed up the tempo for expressive effect. Keywords: structure, ternary form, section A, section B, which is longer, section A repeating briefly, and then an 8-bar coda at the end. Tonality: section A, major, D flat major, section B, minor, C sharp minor. This is a tonic minor for the B section. A section melody. The raindrop is repeated, A flat quavers, repeats throughout, harmonised in sixths, and the ornaments used is a turn. B section melody in crotchets, the melody is in the bass part, note lengths are augmented. The ornaments become more complex towards the end, with a more chromatic ornament. 10 notes, not 7. The highest notes are in bar 89. Dynamics. Sostenuto starts piano, quiet. Sotto voce gradually builds up in the B section to FF, fortissimo, and dies down at the end to PP, very quietly. Tempo. Slow held back tempo, and it slows down at the end, ritenuto. Instruments. A pedal is used. Texture. B section builds up texture by doubling the raindrop. There's a pedal note in the bass in the A section, and there's an inverted pedal in the B section in the top.